morning. This is Game Day Breakfast. I'm Natalie Sawyer, and with me it's the former Chelsea striker, Tony Cascarino.
Good morning.
Got a great weekend of live sport coming your way. We have got the Lions in action in the second test against Australia later on today, but also the Lionesses are through to their third consecutive final as they look to avenge their World Cup final loss to Spain. Even Sarina Wiegman doesn't know how she's been so successful.
I actually don't know. I think I've worked with incredible people, staff, incredible football players, and what I'm just trying to do is create an environment where everyone can be at her best and at his best too, because I'm trying to do that with staff too, and create this environment where we take action and mistakes are part of our journey.
So it is live on talkSPORT tomorrow as the Lionesses look to retain their Euros title. It is, as I mentioned, their third consecutive final under Sarina Wiegman.
So here we go again. Another shot in history for the Lionesses.
So much has changed, so I'm intrigued to come back and enjoy that tournament football.
Proper England is a bit who we are and what we want to show.
The game is over, and England's title defence begins with a damaging defeat in Zurich.
We knew there was going to be pressure. It's a tough group. The Dutch look very strong, very comfortable. It's going to be a tough game.
Through left-footed shot, it's 4! What a performance from England!
Proper English display. That's what we wanted to put on.
England are teaching Wales a footballing lesson.
Quarterfinals, back to Zurich.
Mead is there, and Jimang! 2-2!
It was probably like 2 yards away from the goal, but a goal's a goal.
Now we go to penalties. Holmberg, it's over! England are in the semi-final!
Football, honestly, never change. Never change.
It's 2 games from glory at Euro 2025.
You can see it in the games that we've played so far and how important the substitutes have been.
Jimang is there! Can she put it in? She does! England's teenage sensation! This is extraordinary!
Yeah, I think we have that never give up attitude, you know.
To put England in the final. Kelly! Save! Kelly there again! It's in!
And it's not just about the start 11. It really is about that squad. It's a special squad.
And England are one step away from making history again!
How dramatic it can be.
Dramatic, that is certainly the word for the Lionesses' campaign in Switzerland so far, and they take on the world champions Spain tomorrow live on talkSPORT, like I was saying. And delighted to say, joining us then to help us look ahead to it, it's the former Lioness striker Tash Dowie, who's part of our team out there. How are you, Tash?
Hi, Tash.
That was great to listen to. It gave me goosebumps.
It does. Oh, goodness me. Where do you start on this journey that the Lionesses have been on? Because when you look at it, Tash, there's been a few times where you've thought, they're going out of this tournament, and yet somehow they have gone through to the final. How do you describe this tournament for them?
To be honest, I think from the first game, potentially, we were all thinking it when they got beat by France. And then every game, it seems to be, we're packing our bags, we're going home. And then they found themselves in the final. Like, we've just been laughing about it then, just saying, I cannot believe England have reached it. But I think you've got to give them credit. The football hasn't been great. Let's be honest. They haven't performed how we know they can perform. But the mentality of this squad, and I highlight the squad because it is so important. The game's changed. You know, the finishers, they call them the finishers. And that's not disrespectful to the starting 11. They do their part, but the respect that this squad have for Sarina Wiegman and the way that they play for her, I think it's quite inspiring.
Tash, I've got to ask you, because it's from Spain's perspective, who've basically cruised through the group phase. I've only been behind once in any game, and that was against Italy in the group phase, but they ended up dispatching Italy 3-1. They've cruised through, and yes, it was tricky at times against Germany, but it's been pretty seamless, in my opinion, for Spain, because they've never really looked in trouble.
Yeah, and I think that could be a bad thing if I'm being completely honest. You look at what England have had to go through, playing the likes of France, some top opposition, Sweden, penalty shootouts, all this drama. And actually, Spain probably haven't been challenged enough yet. You know, to actually then come up against England in a final, you know, that's probably going to be their biggest ask. So I'm hoping that England, you know, this is going to be their time to perform, and, you know, they're due a good performance. And I've seen Spain, I think they're a top team. We all know how good they are, but I do think they're beatable.
Yes, I mean, we all hope that that's the case, certainly Tash as well. But like Cass was saying, they have sort of eased their way into this final. But when you look at the Lionesses, it's been slightly different, as we've already touched on. But game changers have come off the bench. We've seen that with Chloe Kelly. We've seen that with Michelle Adjemang as well. Are you expecting that those two players in particular are going to be on the bench once more? Because Serena knows, if I need to win this game, I can turn to them. They can come off the bench, and she has a strong bench then available.
Yeah, it's been working, hasn't it? And I think that's been the frustration from all of us. You know, people have been asking, well, why doesn't she start the players that are scoring and having the impact, you know, from the start? But I think when it works, you know, why change it? And I think that it happened the same in 2022 when Aruso and Toon was coming off the bench and scoring those goals. And then this is the new finishers group, I guess. And like I said, that's why I respect those players so much, because I think if I was a player like a Kelly, like an Adjemang that was coming on and delivering, I'd be really knocking on her door saying, well, give me a start. I want to start from the off. You know, I want to have that opportunity. But these players know what their roles are. They respect that, and that's where I think Serena's created this environment where everyone knows what they have to do and they deliver. And to be honest, sadly, I see the game panning out in a very similar manner. I really do. I think it's going to be drama. I think it's going to be tension. I'm sorry to say it,
my
but
fingernails won't stand that, Tash. What are you doing to me?
Well, look, Tash. There's one thing for me that stands out, and that is leadership qualities. And if you look at Leah Williamson, who's captain of Arsenal and of England and won the Champions League, she will play a vital role, I'm sure, because I think she's one of the standout features of the England squad.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, and I think that when coming into the tournament, you lost some big leaders, your Millie Brights, your Fran Kirbys, you know, Mary Earps, you know, three probably captains and leaders within that group. But actually, I think you're spot on. Your Leah Williamsons has really stood up, a Lucy Bronze. You know, you've got different leaders that lead in different ways. You know, you look at a Stanway, a Walsh, but maybe lead more by example. A Russo, you know, so young still, but her leadership, the way that she's worked at the front, her pressing, you know, a Hemp, you know, all of these different characters. A Greenwood, you know, over 100 caps now. But I guess like you've got more of the vocal ones, like is a Lucy Bronze, but then you've got your quieter leaders. And I think when it's mattered in really key moments, players have stood up at different times, and I think that's been really impressive. And then you talk about leaders, the ones that have come off the bench as well. You know, and Adjemang, 19 years of age, but the way that she's led and come on and had that presence and authority in her first major tournament, it's been brilliant to watch.
Yeah, and just her ability to be in the right place at the right time, to be 19, just sort of your career's just starting, and yet she just has that striker's or poacher's instinct. It's been fabulous to see. Just quickly, I mean, Serena isn't one to mix and match when it comes to her squad. She kind of sticks with a similar 11, but the defence has been one that she has worked on during this tournament. We know that what Spain are capable of. They've got the top scorer in their team so far in this tournament too. Who do you think is the best back line to cope with Spain's attack?
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. I think Esther's been magnificent, top goal scorer, 4 goals, and then Pina, phenomenal. Caldente, we've seen her at Arsenal this season. I mean, it's really quite scary to think what they're coming up against. But I think she'll stick with the same back four that started the last game with Italy. I think you'll have your Lucy Bronze, Leah Williamson and Greenwood. The only one that I'm umming and ahhing against, do you stick a Morgan in, you know, in a final when, you know, that was probably her first start in a major tournament in the semi-final, or do you go back to a Carter with everything that's been going on with her as well, with the racist abuse? It's tough. It's a tough call with regards to who she goes there. But to be honest, I think all 4 of them, I actually think England's style of play is better suited to come up against the Spanish team rather than a Sweden or a France who are a counter-attacking team. I think England struggle with teams that like to counter. I actually think that they're better suited to come up against this Spanish team, and they're going to have to suffer, absolutely. They're going to have less possession, but I really do think that England can grind out a result.
Tash, just briefly, do we know how close Laura James is to playing? Obviously,
so
fitness.
we spoke to Serena Wiegman. She said she's touch and go. Yeah, she's touch and go. I think that they're going to give her a couple of extra days. But if I'm being honest, I don't think she's going to be starting tomorrow.
Right.
Okay. A bit of a blow then, because she's, done all right considering the injury issues she has had coming into this tournament. It's going to be fascinating, no doubt. Tash, bring us the luck, will you?
I definitely will. It's worked so far.
Yeah,
One
it
more.
certainly has. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's Tash Dowie then, who is part of our team out in Switzerland, and she'll be part of our team for the live final tomorrow on talkSPORT.
We talk about players, and you mentioned a few Spanish. Bon Mati is a problem.
Oh, well, she obviously scored the winner in
just is a
that Germany game. And if you remember, I don't know if you remember, we spoke about her before the tournament because she was in hospital with viral meningitis.
Right, yeah. I remember you saying that.
Had a slow start to the tournament in the sense of she started on the bench a few games and now is starting games. But ridiculous. There's just a plethora of incredible players, and that's hence why they're world champions.
Yeah.
And looking to win the Euros for the very first time as well. It's going to be intriguing. By the way, there was a brilliant video, I don't know if you saw it, that I was circulating on social media. I think it was, forgive me, I don't know if it was the BBC. One of the team, you know how everyone now films commentary?
Yeah.
So they're filming the commentary. And I think it is the England-Italy game, if memory serves me right. It must be, because it was this week. Anyway, in the background, there's Adrian Durham. There's Izzy Minter, who is our producer out there as well. And it's brilliant just watching their faces. Because, Adrian's just aghast, can't believe the turnaround of what's happening in that game. And Izzy's just smiling. And it's just brilliant. I was just watching those two. I was like, the reactions are just fabulous. Brilliant. It sums up
England
what a time it's been.
Have been the most chaotic team, haven't they, in the tournament? By a long way. Drama.
Which in a weird way makes you think, surely it's destiny. They've got to win it now. But anyway, that's coming for you tomorrow. On